Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. At least that's what we're calling ourselves now. Until they sue us. Then we'll be that dating show's news. Okay. Cassidy calls out Nate on Instagram. I don't believe Nate for a second. She rips him to shreds. I'm going to share it with you what she said. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I got stand-up clips, other show updates, wedding updates, things like that over there. And I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal. Today's featured teacher of the day is Mrs. McCarthy. Everybody, good morning, Mrs. McCarthy. Okay, she's an 8th grade teacher, and she's got just a couple items on her list. She doesn't have that many, but she needs some books. I can't believe that she has to provide the books for the class. This is just an atrocity here. But anyway, if you guys could help her out with some different learning tools or just paper supplies, she can always use paper supplies. We appreciate Mrs. McCarthy so much. So thank you for being our featured teacher of the day. There'll be a link in the comment section for you to sign up for that. All right, so here's what Cassidy says. She says, "I'm so disappointed that Gabby had Nate's back when it would have been not only easy, but also fun to tell him to kick rocks, because in this house, we believe women." Here's what Gabby had to say, and this was shared by Bachelor Nation. That's good.
One get on one knee.
You'll have to tune in.
Are you happy? Is there a happily ever after of sorts?
I'm extremely happy, and I wouldn't have it.
Breaking news. She's happy, everybody. All right, let's hear the Nate part.
See, surrounding Nate, and I think some of that was addressed tonight. So how was that to experience? And
this was filmed at the Mentel Hall.
Yeah, I hope he knows that I'll always have his back 100%. He was nothing but good to me, when we met, and he really did. He was a role model for a lot of the guys and stood up for me and stood up for what he believed in. So I have a hard time knowing that person, thinking anything else about him, no matter what comes out online.
No matter what comes out online. So the audience not happy. That's disappointing. The Bachelor edit strikes again. And then someone said, well, I think what she meant is that she is giving him the benefit of the doubt, as you would for anyone you care about. Plus, she comes across as someone who is really supportive of the people around her. That being said, what Nate did was wrong. Wrong hill to be on. Love. Good to me is a very ish comment. Yeah, and look, I mean, she's obviously under contract to talk about the company she works for. So rather than blame her, I'm going to wait and see how the Men Tell All episode actually plays out. I think if she could take another swing at things, she would. All right, so we'll get back into it here with Cassidy in 1 second, but don't forget, in the comment section below, I'll also have a link to my mailing list. If you want to sign up, I've got stand-up show updates. I'll be releasing tickets for my next show, September 3rd in Hollywood, Saturday night, 8 p.m. And also, hey, I got some stand-up comedy I just posted on the Patreon. If you want to check that out, here's a quick clip.
The thing that really makes sex dry up is when you have to remove a weighted blanket from the bed. That's what, I've never met a guy who's ever bought a weighted blanket, yet they're existing. Ladies, round of applause. Weighted blankets. They're like for anxiety. They come in 25 or 50 pounds, depending on if you're
all right, so that's that joke there. You can go check that out on my stand-up comedy page, or this full video is available on patreon.com/Dave Neal. Let's get into what Cassidy had to say.
I think that he absolutely misconstrued this woman into thinking that they were in a relationship, and she rightfully is like, hang on, I'm confused because you never mentioned this part of your life. It checks out. To me, it checks out. I'm sorry, it does. And not only that, but the fact that I was crucified for my friends with benefits sitch, which, listen, we've moved on, but I ain't forget that.
I ain't forget.
That's communicated boundaries. That is healthy, and we all know what the deal is here.
Okay, so a friends with benefit is communicated boundaries. I like the way this is being put. Now, look, I understand there's going to be comments. Dave, I can't believe you're still talking about this story. I'm sorry. This is one of the bigger stories that's existing in the current stage of Bachelor, the TV show. He might be the next Bachelor. People are very curious in talking about this. And this is the first time we've had a recent alumni address it, I believe, through video.
Clearly, Nate was not communicative about the boundaries of this relationship. And we're bending over backwards to make excuses for him. And I'll be honest, it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me, and I don't like it. And I don't approve of him being the Bachelor. I will give it to Bachelorette casting, though. They do bravely, continually ask the question, can we find 30 dudes who don't suck? And when the answer continues to be no, they keep asking it, and I applaud their vigor in that sense. But I think it's time that we find someone who doesn't suck. Just my take.
You know, I agree. And by the way, here, Cassie's got a new boo. He's a chef, I believe. Mario Fabrici. Do I have that right? All right, very cute, nice, adorable. They're in love. Did she say yes? Will he propose? All the questions. All right. So, yeah, look, she's got a great point. Bachelor used to be an exceptional person. It used to be someone that we'd be like, all right, this guy deserves it. His family burned down in a barn when he was 3. Am I describing the Batman series? He was raised by an old butler. Like, what? Yeah, the Bachelor should be a Batman. You know what I mean? It should be a guy that's like heroic. It should be a fireman that, you know, whatever. It should be something like that. It should be something big and important and good and someone deserving. I'm not saying Nate's not that. But we'll have to see how it plays out on the Men Tell All. But, you know, like, for people that think that I'm the only one that covers this, I mean, everyone's talking about it. She's All Batch did a quick recap about this. Reality Steve and I were on her podcast that was dropped today. You can check that out. But here's just a quick blurb from what she had to say regarding the defense of Nate's actions.
Need to add another creep into this episode because a creep-worthy story has broken and it simply cannot wait another week. So if you guys have been keeping up with the Nate drama, Nate from Gabby's season, his ex-girlfriend kind of blew up his spot, told Reality Steve that she didn't know that he even had a daughter, even though they dated for a year and a half. He apparently was dating multiple girls at the same time. It was not a good look. Like we reported on last week, ABC is quaking. They're not happy with this. It's very clear that Nate was supposed to be the Bachelor, and now this bad press is not really helping their case. So Dustin Kendrick, he hosts Bachelors in the City podcast with Peter Weber. We've had him on our podcast as well. He recently spoke out on Nate's behalf, and like, God, I don't understand why he thought this was a good idea, or why like anyone thought like, yeah, let's publish this. This is great. I think people were starting to forget about the story, and now this has only brought it back up 10 times worse. So I'm going to play some clips from the podcast that Dustin and Peter willingly published. I don't understand.
So we already shared that, but they were ripping. And again, I've been a long time podcaster. I never recommend rating someone's podcast unless like you actually like, don't dislike, like don't 1 star rate them if you don't agree with their politics, whatever. Do whatever you want, really. I just don't promote it, but unbelievable the amount of people that reached out to them and gave them a 1-star review. If you look, 1-star review, if you look at the comments, and again, this was after Dustin, Nate's friend of, you know, a long time since they were teens, defended Nate. People said, seriously, I'm baffled at the lack of self-awareness of the people running this podcast. They really thought they were making great points while making misogynistic statements. Just because someone is your friend doesn't mean that they can do no wrong. Hopefully they can grow from this and do some reflecting. Yikes, that's all I can say about this podcast and the people in it. Criticizing a girl for being at the clubs, aka a party girl, and therefore undeserving of honesty and respect when these boys are themselves party boys, was too much for me to stomach, all while preaching to not judge. Misogyny is alive and well. A lot of comments here. So disappointing for 2022. Dustin and Peter talking about women this way after all that's gone down the last few years is extremely sad. Even Oris is the girl in the podcast. Why is she there? The producer. Agreeing with the guys and talking women down. Sadly, Nate will probably become the Bachelor anyway. If he really wants to protect his child, he should turn it down. Now, I mean, maybe that's a threat. Maybe it's not. I personally think that Nate can recover from this. I think, like I said yesterday and the day before in all those videos, it'll come down to him just being honest with whatever, boundaries he didn't set in those relationships, and just be honest and say, like, look, just some generic advice for people out there. If you're ever fighting with a partner or like arguing about something, just assume that their feelings are valid. Even if you know you were supposed to be home at 8, but you were stuck in traffic and they're mad at you for not giving them the heads up. Whatever the story may be, just assume that their feelings are valid, and in this case, apply that to Nate versus his ex here, Kelsey. Assume that she was led on. Just assume, okay, yes, you were led on. It was not my intention to hurt you. I realize I did because I didn't set the right boundaries, and I realize I led you on, and I realize all these things. I was hurting. Explanation, but that's no excuse for explanation, okay? Your feelings are valid. Call it out. Talk about it. We just live in this world where like everyone's just like has to be like so hell bent on being right. Well, who cares if you're right? It's about like learning and growing from your mistakes. So no one's blaming Nate for making mistakes. It's this whole like thing where the Bachelor producers are going to piss on our legs and tell us it's raining. That's what annoys people. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Again, I'll be on Patreon this morning at 10 a.m. for private content. You can check my full stand-up comedy clips there. Go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. We'll see you all later. Bye.